thank you to Care Of for sponsoring today's video. So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats Video Podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about how preteens and teenagers have nothing. And by nothing, I mean preteens and teenagers are in limbo right now because they really are lacking role models, trends, and appropriate interests to be involved in. I came across this TikTok video on Facebook and it really did speak to me. It talks about how alarming it is for preteens and teenage girls of this generation to not have any representation for their demographic. I've seen a lot of other content creators talking about this, and I wanted to add my 2 cents because I highly agree.
Young girls don't have no type of representation. Like, they don't have girls their age, I fear, like, in the mainstream to, like, look up to.
Okay, but let's talk about it because I knew I was going to college because I saw Moesha going to college. I saw T and Tamara going to college. I watched A Different World and all that. I knew that I was going to college because I had the representation. Not only did we have Raven Baxter and Kyla Pratt, but we also had Lizzie McGuire. I used to love Lizzie McGuire. I used to love watching Ren from Even Stevens. Like, I loved all of that. But another thing that I feel bad about the young girls is that they don't even have their own clothing stores. Y'all remember Justice, Limited 2, 579, Rave? They don't have any of that. And not only that, they shop at the same stores that we do, the same sites that we do, but they don't even have a junior section. There's nothing to represent that preteen, young woman, young lady sector at all. So since they don't have any representation and they have nothing catered to them, then of course they're going to jump ahead of time because there's nothing for them at all within the media or within fashion or within beauty standards. We had a little glitter lip gloss and glitter eyeshadow. They're going to a full beat face full of makeup because they don't have any makeup products or any fashion or anything catered to them. And it's sad. And I do think we need to give them a little slack in that area because yes, we all wanted to grow up fast, but we also had things catered to us that made us feel okay in the space that we were in because we had something to represent us. We had something for us. These girls don't have anything for them. So they go from little girl sizes and little girl representation straight to grown women sizes because there's nothing in the middle. And that is not necessarily their fault. That is the fault of the industry and society that we live in. But I do think we need to reach out to them and let them know it's okay to take your time. You know, this is a marathon. This is not a quick race.
I feel like when I was a kid, I remember being a kid. Of course, we always look up to the older cousins and being grown and just looking forward to being an adult, but you still stay in a child's place to a certain degree. Back then, we were able to watch Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon and have shows that were really good and engaging specifically for that demographic. Even as far as clothing stores, the clothes represented what was trendy and it was for this age group of preteens and teenagers and it was appropriate. But when you look around these days, there are barely any celebrities, barely any trends, and barely any experiences that are made for girls between ages like 10 to 17. It's almost like that demographic has morphed into us adults, and especially those of us who are in our 20s. It's very scary to know that I share the same interest as somebody who is 10 years younger than me, and that a 15-year-old isn't able to just be a kid and not be so enamored or so pressured to be in adult spaces. I really wanted to talk about this because I do have a lot of younger viewers who are between the ages of 13 and 17, and I really want to hear from y'all about this. I want to know what teenagers are into and if we have really gotten to a point where the lines are so blurred that kids really aren't just kids anymore. So I've broken this video down into one overall main talking point. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my one and overall main talking point is how teens became mini adults. I've said it so many times on my channel about how there is no more line of demarcation between young women, teenage girls, and even as low as preteens and kids. We are all on the same playing field when it comes to what we're interested in and the things that we are consuming. And it's actually downright scary. It is crazy to think that there are girls who are in their early teens that look like, behave like, or really compare as an adult. And oftentimes we talk about how young black girls are sexualized and deemed way more mature than what they are, and this is facts. This has been a thing in every black community everywhere for so long. You see the 12-year-old girl who just so happens to be physically endowed with more mature assets, and she gets looked at as an adult when she really isn't. And then also in the black communities, we expect young girls and teenagers to take on a lot of the motherly duties within the household, or expect them to behave in a way that is older than what their minds and their experiences have yielded. And because we often do this as black people, it has now transitioned transitioned into these young teenagers feeling more connected to an adult lifestyle than what their lifestyle really is and should be. So now we see this reflected in the daily life of a teenager. So if we use an example of a 14-year-old girl who is a freshman in high school, and we go through her iPhone to see what she's following on Instagram, what she's looking for and searching on TikTok, and who she strives to be like in her current life, it does parallel to that of someone who is 24 years old and 10 years her senior. A lot of us are following the beauty influencers who portray themselves in a more mature or sexual manner, and a lot of us are listening to the music that is pushing out sexual narratives or way more mature topics. A lot of us do search for outfits or public figures who display a more mature conduct, and now the line has been blurred. So there is a chain of events that has led to this. Part of it is treating young girls as if they are older, especially in the Black community. Part of it is how social media and adulthood is glamorized online and placed right in front of children. But all of it is the accessibility to all of these things. And this is why I think the internet should be way more regulated than what it is. When I see parents create social media profiles for their newborns or for their young kids, I cringe a little bit, because I feel like at the end of the day, you're exposing this child to an adult world that he or she may not be able to understand. And unless you are the parent that is super transparent with their children and monitor their page, your child is on here learning about things, viewing things, wanting to be a part of things, falsely impersonating narratives, and inserting themselves in a space that really isn't meant for them. So now we see this being played out with what is available and what is accessible. So as easily as it is to access all of this adult content, the flip side is the availability of things that are not supposed to be consumed by teens and preteens and what their interests are going for. Like the TikTok said, there used to be mall stores specifically for teenagers. I remember shopping at Deb. Deb was my best friend. I remember going to Wet Seal. I remember even Charlotte Russe. I remember 579. I used to love 579, and I would always go to Towson Mall in Maryland to shop at all of these stores. I remember watching TV shows and having some people to look up that looked just like me, but were also within the vicinity of what was appropriate for my lifestyle, even if they were older. The Disney Channel and Nickelodeon have lost its kid-friendly appeal over the years. And it's not like you can't watch these networks and get good kid-friendly shows. The issue is it's not appealing to young people anymore. I feel like back in the day, we had public figures and celebrities and artists that were within children's spaces. And back then, there wasn't as much diversity where you had a lot of Black girls that looked like you that were pushed into the forefront. However, within the people that were there, they were technically role models within the kids' space. But these kids nowadays, they're looking up to people who are even older than myself. They do want to be Jada Wada. They do want to live like Ari. They do want to keep up with all the rapper girlfriends. They do watch the reality TV shows like People with Krishan Rock. They do somehow know more about some of the people's lives than other adults do. What I think happened was that obviously the lines were blurred, but I think adults have actually dropped the ball, and I'm not even sure which generation of adults to point the blame. I even think that it must be the adults that are even before Gen Z and maybe even the millennials as well, because we were a little too young to be at fault for this type of shift. Adults started to allow children to be overexposed and too transparent. And I'm one that advocates for transparency so that people understand what they're getting into and the reality of whatever it is that they're consuming. However, when you are overexposed, this is the result. There needs to be a bigger push for kids to be taken care of in a way that doesn't hinder their innocence. And it starts with adults. Adults need to take care of themselves all the way around. And I also have a product for y'all. So hey y'all, this video is sponsored by Care Of. They are here to take care of you in a way that a lot of us need. So Care Of is a subscription supplement service that makes it easy to stick to a consistent vitamin routine. One of my New Year's resolutions was to implement self-care and wellness, because not only is it an external and internal benefit, but I feel like I'm at an age where my body is changing and I want to be able to maintain my health. I received this box, and upon opening it, I was so impressed by the packaging. I'm a sucker for good packaging. So I love the customized cards that greet you and have your name on it. I love the personal touch. So upon opening the box, I received the protein powder and vanilla, which I have loved using this for my post-workout gains. And then the main event are the vitamins. So the vitamins come in pill form, and they have been a boost to my lifestyle. I feel like I'm more alert, have a little bit less pain, especially since I do work out a lot, and just overall feel healthier. They come as a 30-day supplement pack, and the box style helps for easy dispensing. The individual package show each pill so you can see exactly what you're getting. I took the Care Of quiz, which I encourage y'all to take on their website so you can customize your supplement needs. So I got the vegetarian collagen to help with my joints, perfect for me since, again, I do work out frequently. The fish oil supplement, which helps me because I've always been vitamin D deficient, and it helps with heart health. And then lastly, the multivitamin, because every woman needs to get all of their nutrients daily. So it's almost April, and by now we are well into the new year, and I want to know how y'all have incorporated wellness into your routine this year. Whether it's a 5-minute long routine or a major focus of your day, it is super important nonetheless. Care Of has thoughtfully sourced, research-backed ingredients to help you feel your best. So take Care Up's quiz to find out what is recommended for you. The quiz is free, it's fast, and you get an instant suggestion of what supplements can enrich your lifestyle and your personal health goals. I would also download the app because their app is free and it includes daily reminders to take your vitamins, and it also rewards you for consistency, like earning exclusive discounts and merch just by tracking your progress in the app. We're all for consistency and taking care of ourselves, so it's good to look back on how many days in a row you've taken your vitamins. So y'all can use my code Queen Chioma for 50% off of your first order, and thank you again to Care Up for sponsoring this video. So I do believe that now more than ever, kids have a mind that is very imaginative, very desired, and their attention spans aren't that long. I remember being a teenager and just wanting to know all the things that came with being 18, and I remember thinking that by the time I was 25, I would have all of those different things. Not sure why the hell I thought I was going to be married with kids and a house at 25. It's definitely looking more 35 for me now, but nonetheless, adults dropped the ball and allowed kids to enter spaces that they shouldn't have. And we live in a society that basically wants kids to not be kids anymore, and you wonder why there are so many debates about whether TikTok should be banned, or whether kids should have the right to decide which gender they want to become, or whether kids should be allowed to have cell phones during school. The indoctrination of technology into the learning process of life has definitely caused this, because as much as an iPad can help your child learn your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, it can also help your children learn about the birds and the bees and the D's and the P's. Read in between the lines, you'll know what I'm trying to say. I do think it's sad that there's really no longer a teen industry. I just remember reading Tiger Beat magazine that was directly for teens and seeing people like Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez on the cover because they appealed to the teen market, but the teen market really isn't there anymore. I just saw the Kids' Choice Awards on Nickelodeon a few weeks back, and they had Lil Baby performing as well as Lil Uzi, and I'm not sure why this was approved. I do think Lil Baby is okay for kids, but I just feel like Lil Uzi, he has said and done too many off-putting things that to bring him to a kid's space is literally part of the problem. They don't really have the same Radio Disney artists that we used to see. What happened to the big name teenage stars like a Miley Cyrus and Keke Palmer and things like that? A lot of these music labels aren't even going into the kid or teen market to develop talent anymore because they're focused on the grown woman who sells sex and the grown men who can sell violence. So now the teens are left without a core experience, which is being a teenager first and foremost. Like, they don't even have their own OMG girls or their own mindless behavior, and that is actually absurd. And the effects have been daunting because now we see a lot of young girls growing up too fast. And there's always been girls like that in every generation, but it's different in this generation because it's at a larger quantity. When you look at some of the celebrity teenagers, they don't even look like kids. I know I spoke on how Alabama Barker turned 17, and she wore this very revealing dress to her birthday party. And of course, people get mad when you talk about other people's kids, let alone how someone chooses to parent. But I think all that gentle approach and not being able to make opinions without being called a hater has caused some of this. Because although it is Travis Barker's decision for his daughter to be dressed this way, if he was being checked about it, or at least knew that he would be checked for it, he probably wouldn't allow it. But we've allowed everything to be okay, and things that are not okay are now okay. Another celebrity teen that I saw that shocked me was Jordan Woods' little sister, Jody Woods. I'm looking at this girl's picture and I'm just like, how is this a 15-year-old child? There must be something in our food that are making children look this way. I know that's what people like to say, but it's simply parents and the media and society allowing this because nobody checks it anymore. Everybody wants to shame you for having an opinion versus listening to what the opinion is that could maybe help the situation overall. She looks way older than 15. I would have thought that her and Jordan were only a few years apart, and they're actually 10 years apart. When I talked about Diddy's twins, Jesse and Delilah, I remember I said that I think that they stay out of trouble and they seem like really good representations for the teen demographic because the teen demographic is lacking. However, if they're going to show up to their 16th birthday dressed like adults, it's showing other teens that this is now the teen trend when it should not be. I think a lot of this is just inappropriate and further affects how teenage girls are viewing themselves and their placement in society. And I think teenagers think they're supposed to be mini adults and not teenagers. I would do anything to just relive ages 14 to 17 all over again and just do kid things, have fun, sneak out, go to parties with my friends, wear Hollister, go roller skating on a Friday night, cheer at another high school football game, walk around the mall for hours but only buy an Aunt Annie pretzel and cheap body sprays from Love Pink and things like that. But it's like teenagers nowadays live more on social media and wanting to be an adult versus just being a kid, and adults seem to have no qualms about fixing this. Young people are the future to society, and if they're going to grow up in a world that is showing them mature content prematurely, it's going to be embedded in this generation and for generations to come. I know it sucks being told that as a parent your child may be be falling victim to a lot of society's temptations. However, we're gonna have to have more adults step up to conquer this. Whether you're a parent or not, there has to be stores for teens to shop at and have appropriate clothing. There has to be singers and actors and social media people for the teen demographic to like. There has to be publications such as magazines and even blog pages that report on teen-related topics. There has to be TV shows that are relatable to teenagers so they're not looking into the adult market for validation and acceptance. I really do feel bad for young girls and teenagers right now because I don't think they're living a teenage life, let alone a life that doesn't put that much pressure onto their psyche. I want any young woman that's listening to me right now to remember there is no rush to be an adult. It is not as fun as you think, especially now when the price of everything is so high, formal education isn't revered, and there's so many temptations in this world. Go to your senior prom. I didn't even go to my prom. Do all the fun things that your school has to offer. Make memories with your friends and just be a kid. You will thank me later. There comes a point in your early or mid-20s when you realize that you don't have the excuse of I'm just a kid anymore. Like eventually everything you do, everything you say, everything you wear, everything you go to, and every person you associate with is a reflection of who you are as an adult. And I think teenagers should definitely have a society that allows them to be more innocent, more appropriate, and more represented within humanity. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. Guys, it's here. Check out the links down below to stream my new song Ceremony, and definitely stay tuned for new music. And also don't forget to check out our sponsor Care Of. All of the links are down below to get started with your daily vitamins. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye y'all.
So I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, I said 34 beat cup, 30 in the deep cut, 20 baddies with me, QTM, yeah, we up, 16 tops and bottoms, man, I went and got my teeth done, 10 minutes with him, now his 15 minutes is cut, never ever make a nigga think that he up, cause you a queen and I'm a queen, now shout out to Latifah.